Hey everyone, I'm honored to be back up in front of you again. This time I'll be representing MyLigo, which is a startup with myself and my co-founder. Ligo is Latin for my fasten, and we will be talking about the fundamentals for patient and data identity and what we're doing to try and improve that. So as we've talked about here so far all day, an outstanding discussion is around the fact that we are moving to a data-driven, AI-driven healthcare world. It's more and more important to be using your own personal data, collecting your data, managing your own data, and having the ability to control and understand it and be able to relate it to clinical researchers, applications with your doctors, et cetera. And we have a pretty fundamental plumbing solution to work and try and address that. The market context, as we've talked about, is that things are changing every day. You have a complete digitization of your healthcare records and EHRs. You have electronic collection of data, electronic exchange of data. And to keep up with that, there have to be changes, as we know, around privacy, security, automation, and interoperability. And that's what we're trying to address. So you have untapped potential with personal health data and AI-powered health insights. There is now new rules that came out under the Cures Act called the Trusted Exchange Framework, which is how healthcare organizations move data around but to be able to use at different places and when you want to see a doctor somewhere else or when you get a referral. But there's fundamentally no standardized way to identify a patient on a regular basis. So when you walk in to see your doctor, there is a reasonable chance they may not be looking at the right record. Or when they send your information to another hospital, there's a reasonable chance they may not send the right data, or they get duplicate copies of the data. And each organization involved in that life cycle or in that data exchange has to independently prove who you are. And as you can see from the slide right here, it includes lots of money, extra time, wasted effort, potential privacy breaches. And if you are in an underserved community where you don't have a lot of national identifying information, maybe you don't have a driver's license, maybe you don't have a social security number, that further undermines their ability to reliably make sure they know who you are. So what we do is instead offer a digital identity credential, which is something you use in your mobile wallet, something you can use from your phone or from another device that has your information and is reusable and repeatable and attached to your electronic data. We've already talked a bit, obviously, about the implications of AI, and we are building AI tools to be able to help you manage that. So if you think about it, if you're now moving into a world where all your electronic healthcare data is going to be used at different places and by different physicians, how do I explain to my mother-in-law as an 80-year-old Medicare recipient, well, this is the way you manage your electronic healthcare data? That's difficult for her. It's difficult for me and for any caregiver. As a result, we start moving into AI agents and tools to be able to assist doing that. And then, as I mentioned before, my particular work with digital twins, if we start to have reliable, repeatable ways to prove who you are and manage your consent and privacy for sharing your data and use that in conjunction with your own personal AI tools for doing it, and we bring in these other research implications of digital twin models, then you begin to start getting personal health simulation, treatment response prediction, and other tools that benefit you and your provider and care team. The platform enables healthcare organizations to manage patient records with greater efficiency, reducing the risk of duplication and errors in records, gives you as the patient more control over your own data and understanding who has it, who's using it. The technology is built on a globally developed open source platform and was built out of a research project that was funded for 18 months at the University of Texas in Austin. Market potential is always a big thing, when investors want to know what your customer base is like. If you consider that everyone in America can potentially be a patient, they can potentially be a customer. This is something we want to be able to support everyone in their health journey of collecting their data, understanding their conditions, sharing information with their doctors, et cetera. There's a growing demand for the ability to use AI to improve cost and quality, as we've talked about. There is, as I've mentioned before, the expansion of digital twin models that have traditionally been in research centers and high-performance computing into local models and apps on your phone, and your ability to control that data and control your identity associated with data does not exist at scale at the moment, and we aim to be able to fill that. We've been working with a healthcare organization in building our MVP in Texas with an expansion plan to 3 other locations in Texas. We're going to build upon that and expand to other locations that are very active in California and several other states that have large examples that relate to the research and development effort. Grow both direct through our different sales channels, as well as we have SBIR proposal in for doing digital twin development with the National Cancer Institute in partnership with several other research universities, and then launch later on to be able to provide it directly to you as the consumer. The company is myself and my co-founder. He's based in Austin. We're an Austin-based Delaware C corporation. We are pre-seed and pre-revenue, building our advisory board. Now, Tad has given us some great guidance on how to be able to do that, look to be able to roll this out in Q1 of next year. Pre-seed, pre-revenue, we are looking at a pre-seed fund and happy to discuss any interest investment that people may have. And I kept it short to keep us back on schedule. Absolutely. Thank you very much. It was great to talk to you guys.
Any questions? Yeah, we got time for questions.
If you don't have questions, that's okay too. Yes, ma'am.
Hey, just a quick question. Have you gotten any pushback from organizations since they owning and selling the data? Kind of thing for some of the healthcare systems. Have you gotten any pushback?
Yeah, that's a wonderful question. So the data brokered world, yeah. So our aim is not to necessarily get into impacting that just yet. What we think is the most important thing is maintaining the provenance, the electronic ownership and veracity that you are who you say you are, and this is my data. That's probably the most critical thing. I would be thrilled if we could be able to implement this in some of the use cases around advanced care planning. We have a problem right now that if I'm standing here next to Tulane Medical Center and my advanced directive or DNR resides over in Mississippi, they may not have a way to get to it. They may not have a way to prove that the version they're looking at is the latest version. There's electronic things that we have in our solution to be able to address all of that. So just being able to help the person manage their own data, as time goes on, the fallout of that will be, well, gee, I now have visibility where all my data is going, and then we'll start to see changes there. But yeah, it's a great question. We're not targeting that industry just yet, but we'll ultimately get there. And I think as an industry, we'll evolve there too, hopefully.
Hi, you said that one of your target audiences would be underserved populations.
Yes.
Have you taken into consideration that indigenous populations view their data differently than other populations do and would not be as responsive as, say, populations here in New Orleans? How are you going to work with how these various groups view their own data?
That's an excellent question. And here in the U.S., as you may know, U.S. tribal authorities have laws for tribal data sovereignty. So for us, we consider it a potentially tremendous opportunity because we think that there are ways that Native American tribes would like to see better sovereignty over their own healthcare data than the Indian Health Service and their own tribal services afford them right now as they start adopting more electronic healthcare records and electronic health information. Another example of our system that is similar is in New Zealand, where they have Maori tribal data considerations built into their constitutional structure. And they're pursuing technology, again, open source, that is very similar to ours, entirely to help empower those tribal members and Maori tribes be able to, or excuse me, Maori representatives to be able to have more control over how their data goes because they do recognize different data sovereignty. I'm glad you brought that up. Yeah. What, 59 seconds left.
Oh, come on. One more. Anyone? All right. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.